So here's something I never thought I'd say out loud. My property got raided by cops. Or at least, that's what they wanted me to believe. The reason was an HOA dispute. They showed up in tactical vests, guns on their hips, clipboards in hand. Everything looked official, except none of it was real. They thought they were setting a trap. Turns out, they walked straight into mine. Welcome back to States of Heart. Before I start, let me know where you're listening from today, because this story proves power doesn't need a badge, just a clipboard and enough confidence. Let me take you back. You ever chase a dream so long that when you finally get it, you don't trust it? That was me, sitting on a porch I built myself, drinking coffee grown on someone else's land, staring out at 120 acres I paid for in sweat and scars. No bosses. Number for AM phone calls. No strangers yelling in my face. Just me, my dogs, my goats, a tractor older than my knees, and silence. Not the uneasy kind. The kind that lets your nervous system finally unclench. The kind that whispers you're home. I thought I was done with conflict. I was wrong. It started with a sign, white plastic, zip-tied to my fence like it belonged there. Notice. Property under review. Simmons Valley HOA. Compliance required. I stood there blinking at it, waiting for it to explain itself. It didn't. So I tore it down, tossed it into the burn barrel, and assumed some bored kids were playing HOA cosplay. That was mistake number one. The next day, she showed up. Suv the color of hospital walls, parked sideways across my gravel drive like it was asserting dominance. Out stepped a woman in pastel pink, pressed khakis, mirrored sunglasses. Clipboard tucked under her arm like a sidearm. She didn't look at my land. She looked at me like I was a problem to be solved. Hi there, she chirped. I'm Karen Simmons, HOA president. Just welcoming you to the neighborhood. I laughed. This was farmland. She didn't. She smiled wider and started talking about bylaws, fencing height, structure types, livestock ratios, noise thresholds. I told her she couldn't cite a goat. She smiled and said she didn't cite goats, just their owners. Then she handed me a manila envelope labeled welcome packet, action required, turned around, and walked off like she'd just served me jury duty. Inside were fake regulations, diagrams of my barn, photos of my fence taken from angles I didn't even know existed. Apparently, my satellite dish violated a southern view corridor. I didn't throw it out. I burned it. 2 days later, the signs came back. Bigger. Laminated. Nailed higher. Then the men came. 2 of them. Matching khakis. Vests with iron-on patches that read HOA patrol. They walked my fence line with radios and clipboards like they were on a mission. One pointed at my tractor and muttered into his mic. I stepped off the porch. They froze. Something I can help you with, boys? They said they were conducting a compliance sweep. I asked if they had badges. They said they operated under the Simmons Valley Charter. I told them that meant they were trespassing under the Callahan Property Charter and to leave. They did, but not before one of them dropped his clipboard. Inside were patrol routes, property maps, red XS, mine was labeled Alpha, high resistance. I took a photo and called a buddy, Sheriff Langston. He'd never heard of the HOA, but he'd heard of Karen. That's when I realized this wasn't a one-time stunt. So I prepared. Not for violence. For nonsense. Motion sensors. Trail cams. Lights. Because the next time they came, it wasn't daylight. It was before dawn. No knock. No warning. Just silence and footsteps trying to be quiet. 5, maybe 6 of them. Flashlights off. Radios muted. Headlamps strapped on like discount special forces. I heard one whisper, Team Alpha in position. Target presumed armed. Phase 1. That old hum came back. The one you don't forget. I let them cross the second fence. Then the wire tripped. Click. Floodlights exploded on. Siren screamed. The barn lit up like Times Square. 2 hit the dirt. 1 dove behind a water trough. Another got rammed by Linda the goat and flipped clean over. I stepped onto the porch, coffee in hand. "Good morning, gentlemen. You planning to introduce yourselves, or were you hoping for the element of surprise?" Clipboard guy tried to cite some emergency HOA code. I raised an eyebrow and asked if he made it up in a coloring book. That's when Langston's cruiser came down the driveway, red and blue lights bouncing like judgment. "Hands where I can see them. Drop the clipboards. 3 arrests. Fraud. Impersonation." And inside their binder was a list. Names. Neighbors. Some crossed out. 1 labeled exit achieved. Karen didn't stop. She escalated. Flyers. Propaganda. Social isolation notices. She turned neighbors against me. Held rallies. Issued re-education demands. Then my dog Max was hurt. Glass, hidden on purpose. That was the line. I went public. Uploaded everything. The fake raid. The flyers. The binders. Max's injury. And the internet did what it does best. The county stepped in. Then the state. Then federal investigators. Karen wasn't the architect. She was the instrument. Behind her were binders, surveillance feeds, behavioral classifications. Phase 1 infiltration. Phase 2 conditioning. Phase 3 pressure. Phase 4 correction. And my name was all over it. Primary resistance node. They weren't enforcing rules. They were testing control. The final drive proved it. A federal program built on ideas I helped write years ago. They used my own blueprints against me. So I ended it the only way it could end. I blew it open. Whistleblower complaint. Federal indictments. Program shut down. Karen went from HOA president to case number. Now things are quiet. Max still limps, but he runs. The goats still yell. The fences still stand. But the waiting never fully leaves. And this is why I shared this on States of Heart. If someone already drew a map of control, you're already on it. And if a clipboard is all it takes to scare a community, then the fight starts with seeing it for what it is. Because power doesn't always knock. Sometimes it zip ties a sign to your fence and smiles.